today's video, I'm going to be talking about why you are not losing fat. Now, as you can see from the pictures here that I have put on the screen, I am someone that has been overweight my entire life. So fat loss has always been something I've struggled with. I've yo-yo dieted, I've done the binge, the restrict, I've started, I've stopped, I've tried every single diet under the sun, and it got to a point where I was just like, why is this not working for me? Why is this never working for me? Well, here's the thing, and that's what we're going to run through exactly in today's video, why you are not losing fat. So do you ever just feel like you're doing everything that you should be doing, you're looking after your diet, you're getting your steps in, you're going to the gym, you feel like you're smashing every single aspect of your journey, but then you continue to not see any progress with your fat loss? Well, bottom line is, and the biggest thing that I want to cover in today's video is the fact that if you are not dropping fat, then you are not in a calorie deficit. And what is a calorie deficit? If you are new here, or maybe you don't know what a calorie deficit is, this is basically when your body burns more calories than what it consumes. This is then going to create the calorie deficit, the energy deficit, shall we say, and then this is how fat loss occurs. But the biggest reason why you would not be seeing fat loss is because you're not in a calorie deficit. It literally is as simple as that, okay? And me saying that statement is quite a broad statement because there's so many hats that fall under this category, so many factors that we have to consider within fat loss. It's not just a black and white topic. We have to consider that different individuals have different things. We have to consider things like PCOS and underactive thyroid, all of those things. However, the baseline remains the same, that in order for fat loss to occur, we need to be in a calorie deficit. This is how you are going to lose fat. Anyone that has ever lost fat in the history of the world has been in a calorie deficit. And you'll often hear people saying, yeah, I cut out carbs and I lost fat. You'll hear people talk about being on a keto diet and they lost fat. You'll hear people say that they cut out bread and they lost fat. All of these things work, yes, and they allowed fat loss to occur, but that's because they were creating an energy deficit for themselves. They were creating a calorie deficit. They were eating less calories, they were consuming less calories than what their body was burning. Therefore, fat loss has occurred. So it's not necessarily that you need to go and start cutting out all of this shit from your diet to see fat loss occur, and we certainly do not need to be cutting out food groups in order to see fat loss. However, we do need to create a calorie deficit. So if you're continuously not seeing progress in your fat loss journey, the scales are staying the same whenever you're weighing in, maybe you're weighing yourself every day, you're doing that method, and you're continuously seeing the trend maintain, well, that's an indication that you are not in a calorie deficit. And it can seem so simple, me just saying this, you're not losing fat because you're not in a calorie deficit, but I'm going to run over the most common reasons as to why people think they're in a calorie deficit, but they're actually not in a calorie deficit. So I'm an online coach, I'm a full-time fat loss coach, right? So this shit is my job. And after coming through my own journey, I learned a lot about fat loss in the process, and through helping literally hundreds of women on their fat loss journey too. The biggest thing I will hear people say is, I'm tracking my calories, but I'm not losing fat. I'm genuinely tracking all of my calories and I am not losing fat, okay? This is one of the biggest things I will hear people say. We've set them their calorie goal, they've got the calorie target in mind that they need to be hitting alongside their protein goal. They say that they're tracking everything and they're not losing fat. The biggest and the most common mistake here is that people are inaccurately tracking their calories, and that just is what it is. And this can be the most frustrating part for people because they are actually tracking, but they're just mistracking. They're not calculating their calories properly, they're maybe missing some things, they're weighing some things wrong, they're not tracking sauces, they're not tracking syrups, they're maybe weighing food cooked instead of weighing it raw. Maybe they're eyeballing certain things, miscalculating some calories. Maybe you're having a handful of granola here and there, maybe a couple of crisps, a chocolate bar that you're not tracking and that you're actually logging. 9 times out of 10, when someone says that they're tracking but they're not dropping fat, it's because there's a miscalculation with your tracking somewhere. And this is what I always try and say to people and try to reiterate through my message. Tracking your calories is a pain in the arse. It's not fun. Like, nobody enjoys tracking their calories. I know I certainly don't enjoy it. It is a ball ache. However, if you're gonna do it, you may as well do it right. You may as well ensure that you are tracking, that you are putting your full effort into it, that you're getting that understanding of food. Because like I said, 9 times out of 10, when you are tracking your calories, tracking, shall I say, but you're not seeing fat loss occur, there is a mishap or a miscalculation with your intake somewhere. So what I would suggest is, if you are tracking calories, become an expert at tracking calories. And this is something that's really beneficial, not just for your fat loss journey, but also for your health and your understanding of food. Tracking my calories taught me so much about food, about calories, about macros, about what my body needed, about what was in certain foods. It can be used as a tool, not only for fat loss, but for your actual health and for your life and for your food choices. So if you are tracking your calories, ensure that you are actually tracking your calories, that you're not half-assing it, and that you're not missing some things, that you're not having a handful of something here and there and not tracking it. Everything adds up, and sometimes there's a shitload more calories in certain things than what you think there would be. So what I'm going to say to you here is, if you're tracking your calories, track that shit properly, because that's then when we can get an accurate indication of whether you're actually in a calorie deficit or not. So moving on, like I've already discussed, we need to be in a calorie deficit in order for us to drop fat. Another very common thing that I hear people say, and something that I've said myself many times, I'm eating really healthy and I'm making great choices and I'm still not dropping fat. Just because you're eating healthy, so the choices that you're making are healthy, you're really focusing on getting your protein in, you're focusing on good carbs, you're focusing on your fiber, you're focusing on healthy fats. Just because you are focusing on healthy foods doesn't mean that you're in a calorie deficit, okay? You can be making the healthiest of choices in the world, but you could still be in maintenance calories or even in a surplus of calories. So you could be eating really healthy, and again, that's a fantastic thing to do for your body. But if fat loss is the goal, then eating healthy and saying that you're eating healthy isn't going to be enough to allow that to occur. Again, I want to bring to your attention that even healthy foods have calories. Try and keep the healthy diet that you have, try and keep the balanced diet that you have, but maybe start looking at portion control and the actual size of the portions of each of those foods that you're having. It may just be a case of reducing the portion size of your meal, or maybe cutting out one snack in the day that would then allow you to actually be in a calorie deficit. There's a range of different things that you can do here in order to ensure that your calorie deficit is created, even down to getting out and moving more, increasing your energy expenditure, increasing your NEAT. All of those things can help with your overall daily calorie burn. So there's so many things that we can do in order to aid our fat loss and ensure that we are in a calorie deficit. So just to round up today's video, if you are not dropping fat, then we need to just re-evaluate your calorie deficit, and we need to maybe re-evaluate the decisions that you're making. No biggie, it just means that we have to shift some things around and find what's starting to work for you, and ensuring that we have a solid process in place to help you drop fat. And of course guys, if you've got any more questions on this topic, anything that you would like me to cover in regards to calories, a better understanding of these topics, please be sure to go ahead and pop those requests into the comments. I want to be able to help you guys in your fat loss journey as best as I can. And of course, if you do need extra support along the way, you do want to invest in yourself and you want to invest in a coach that understands where you've been and also can help you to where it is that you're trying to go, then I do offer one-to-one fat loss coaching, and we've helped hundreds of individuals on their fat loss journey get real, sustainable and long-lasting results. And that is everything from me on today's video, guys. I do appreciate you watching and being here and making it to the end. And as always, if you took anything from this video, please be sure to like, comment, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!